Hi Stampers, this is Kim with Great Inspirations. I'm so glad you joined me today. As you see, I have one little card here. It's just a very simple, straightforward card with Designer Series paper in the background and a mat for the focal panel, and then a little scene on the focal panel made using some die cuts. Now, I made this card using the Hey Chuck bundle from Stampin' Up. It's in the current annual catalog. You can also find it in the online store. It's a cute little stamp set. It has 4 rooster images, a birthday cake, a skateboard, a fence image, and all of these images have dies that coordinate with them. And there are also 4 sentiments. You rule the roost, rise and shine, it's your birthday, and you've got something to crow about. Now the dies, as I said, there is a die for each one of these images. And there are also 2 standalone dies, a sun or a sunrise, and the weather vane. So this is the bundle I used to design this card. And I thought today we would talk about the evolution of our card designs. In other words, let's step this up a bit. But instead of adding embellishments or ribbons or anything like that, we're going to use the exact same supplies. The Designer Series paper and cardstock colors may be different, but the same supplies, and set this card up. But first, let's just talk about this basic card. And as you can see, I have a card base here, and this card base is 11 by 4 1/4. Now, there will be a lot of measurements given in this video, but don't be concerned about those. In my corresponding blog post, you will find all the measurements, the supplies I used, and some other helpful tips for you to use if you would like to make these cards or make cards like them. But for the cards that we're going to make today, it will be an A2 card base, but it will be the 4 1/4 by 11 inch. So that's what we have. And then I have a piece of basic white cardstock that will go inside the card. And I have a piece of Designer Series paper. I'm going to use the dots. That will go here. And then, of course, we have, oh, there was some adhesive on the back of that. Anyway, we have a mat for our focal panel and our basic white cardstock that we're going to build the design on for the front of our card. So let's get started. And the first thing, let's do some stamping. I have a couple of sentiments from the Hey Chuck stamp set. And for the inside, I'm going to stamp It's Your Birthday. Get it right side up. I think I need a little more ink. There we go. So there's that. And then on our focal panel, I am going to take another sentiment. You've got something to crow about. And I'm going to stamp it in the lower right corner. There we go. Put the lid on the ink, or I'll have ink everywhere. Okay. Now, we are going to get some adhesive and put this card mostly together. Starting with the inside first. There we go. Now we'll put the Designer Series paper on. And this color is the Copper Clay. It's one of the new in colors. And this one is the Wild Wheat, another new in color. There's that. And now you have options. I am going to put this on here first, simply because by the time I get all of these pieces on here, this will be a little bumpy to put adhesive on the back. So I'm just going to do that now. There we go. And now to build our scene, the first thing we're going to do is place our sunrise, and I also want to see just about where I'm going to put this fence. So that should be okay. We've got plenty of room. Okay, so we'll get the sunrise. There's that. I think I'm going to use liquid glue for these. I'll put this right up here. Oops, a little too far up. And then on this one, I am going to put glue only at the bottom, but then on the other two sides we can put bottom and top. And I'll show you why in just a sec. There's that. Now we're going to take some dimensionals. I'm going to put them on the back of our rooster here. I'm not quite sure if he's Chuck or who he may be. I'll just call him our rooster. Peel these off. And then he fits we don't want that in there, do we? He fits really nicely right in here. So there's the "You've got something to crow about." Now, on this version of the card, I just took this whole panel and glued it down. But I think we'll use dimensionals just so you can see the difference and see which one you might like. We still need to do our weather vane. And this is the reason I didn't put glue at the top of that fence. I'm just going to put glue along this little thin piece of the die cut, and then I knew that would happen. So I have my take your pick tool. I'm going to lift this fence up a little bit and just slip that weather vane down there. And there we go. So let's get some dimensionals on the back of this one. And you can put as many as you like. Sometimes when cards go through the mail and they have dimensionals, it's get a little dicey. Sometimes the rollers can really knock off panels that are adhered with dimensionals. So if you feel you need a little extra, that's just fine. And then we're going to center this as best we can. And there is our first card. I do think I like it better with the focal panel on dimensionals. So we're going to move that one, this one, here, we'll move it up here. Here's the original. Put it right here, and now I'll show you how we're going to step it up without changing any of the supplies. Here we go. We're going to make a fun fold. It's basically the exact same card. Now I know the Designer Series paper is different because I ran out of certain designs. But this is pretty much the same card. We've just altered it a tiny bit, and that stepped it up. It just added that little something. Now, I call this card a cut and flip flap card because you cut half of the front of the card off and flip it to make the focal panel. And then here's the inside. It's your birthday, just like this card. So let's make this. And for whatever reason, I guess I just wasn't thinking, I pre-cut my card base and I did not want to do that. So I'm going to just cut another one. Let me get all these little dimensional things out of here. Okay. So we'll get the trimmer. And this is, as I said, 4 1/4 by 11. And we're going to put it in the trimmer. And the first thing we're going to do is score. Because I want to get my 5 1/2 inch score line. That's where we'll fold it to make our card. So there's that. Now we'll just take it out. I'm not sure. And then we're going to move this over to 2 3/4, or halfway across what will be the front of the card. And we're going to cut. See, there's our cut and flip, and it makes the flap. That's why I named it the cut and flip flap card. There may be other names out there for this card, but if I am not told a name when I learn the card fold, or if I've forgotten it, I have to make up a name, and I usually make up a name that lets me know what that card is and what I'll be doing. So anyway, we'll fold this, and we'll get the bone folder. And we'll start to work on this second card that we're just stepping things up a bit. See, here's my pre-cut card base. And I have gone ahead and constructed the focal panel and the inside. So all we need to do is put on our Designer Series paper. You don't need that one. There's our paper, and then we'll put it on the front. Let's see here. There's that. And then we have our focal panel, and we're just going to get it centered as best we can, and we're going to flip it over, and we're just going to put adhesive on this side, which is the back of the left-hand side of the focal panel. Flip it over, and we'll get it all centered again as best we can. There we go. And now to put the inside greeting. And what we're going to do, we'll put adhesive on the back of this. And we're going to lay it right on top of the outside flap there and line it up. Just line it right up with it. Hold it in place and close. There we go. I'm going to rub the back of that just a little to make sure it's really adhered. And there we go. There is our stepped up card. So let's move to our last card. We are going to step this up just a little bit more with another foam fold. And here is the card. And I'm not sure what this card is called. Some people may call it a bridge card, but I call it a cut and paste card because you cut up the front of the card and then you adhere it all back together. So here is this card, and we'll get the card base. And we will start once again by scoring at 5.5. For me, if I get that score line on there, then I don't have to worry about it later. So just score it at 5.5. I'm going to open the trimmer back up, and we are going to move the cardstock. You know, the 11.5 or the 11-inch side is along the top, and we're going to move it over to 1 1/2 inches. And then we will cut, and then we will move it over to 2 1/2 inches and cut. And these make the pieces for the front of the Fun Fold card. So we'll fold our card base, get out the bone folder. And then, as you can see, we're going to end up matching this up down here and then putting this across here. So I'll get my other one that I have ready here. Again, I have the focal piece that will go on this mat, and that makes this part of the card. I have the inside piece, and then I have Designer Series paper. I have some for the inside, and then this will go here, and this will go here. So we'll start adhering things. And I just ran out of adhesive. That's okay. I have some other. It's not the plus, but that'll be okay. It's just the regular. Okay. We'll get this all lined up, centered as best we can. I'm going to take my bone folder, get that a little flatter if I can. And let's see, we've got these two pieces. There's that one. Now this one goes on here. There we go. Now we're going to, oh, yeah, no, I'm right. I'm getting ahead of myself in my head here. Okay, so we line this edge of this cardstock up with the edge of the card right here. And then we have a choice. We can put this piece on dimensionals, or we can put dimensionals along the side and pop it up on the card. So I think I'll go ahead and I'll put some adhesive on the back of this piece. There we go. And we'll use some dimensionals. Just going to put 3 on each side. You might want to put 4 or 5. It's up to you. And I'll take the backings off. Okay. And now we'll line this up again. Okay. Now we'll take this and just center it like we did before. Now, if for whatever reason you want this up higher or down a little lower, that's just fine. And there's that card, the card front anyway. And now we're going to do the inside just exactly the way we did the inside for the last one. So I'll put some adhesive our inside piece. And then, now this one isn't as easy to line up. You can't really, you just have to kind of guess where the edge is. And it's not too bad because you can kind of center it between these two pieces of cardstock. You see something here. Okay. I'm beginning to think one of these pieces might be a little bit wider than the other. We'll see. Close it up. Rub on the back. Oh, there we go. It's hidden. So there's our card. You've got something to crow about. It's your birthday. So that is what I call the evolution of a card design, because we've taken one basic design, stepped it up a little bit, and then stepped it up a little bit more just using fun folds. No more extra supplies, just the fun folds. Now, like I said, the information, the measurements and supply list, and even a couple of charts showing you where to cut the cardstock for the fun folds will be on my corresponding blog post. And the link to that blog post can be found in the description of this video. So that's all for today, and until next time, stamp happy.